This is WFO Radio.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Guess who's back? WFO. That's right. After a long hiatus of 1 week, WFO Radio is now back. We are now back, and we're going to talk a little NHRA drag racing with Alan Reinhart, just minutes away, just seconds away. How's everybody doing out there? Hopefully you are great. If you're out there watching on the Facebook, you can share. If you're on YouTube, you can share. Put it on the Twitter, do all those things, and then let's get the audience numbers up there. You know, we have been gone for a week, and so maybe they have forgotten all about us here on WFO Radio, but I highly doubt it based on my Twitter feed. And, it's funny, you take a week off, right? But I was taking care of business, baby, taking care of all kinds of stuff. And now it's all taken care of, and we are ready to go once again. We're going to roll, and it's going to be great. And I want to say thanks to the people who make it possible for me to do shows like The Ignition Show, which is out and available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And of course, this show, people like Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. We got some really great episodes of Hidden Horsepower coming out real soon. There's an episode with Warren Johnson up as we speak. Warren Johnson from the Engine Performance Expo that we did at the start of the year. All kinds of great information from the professor. Go to TotalSeal.com, check it out. And while you're there, if you're building an engine, buy yourself some piston rings. Simple as that, TotalSeal.com. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Great article on NHRA.com right now. In fact, everybody get a chance. Go to NHRA.com immediately. And right at the front page, at least as of earlier today, was WFO Radio. Matt Smith and Greg Anderson seeing a pop in the numbers. Was like, what's up with that? And the answer is it's up on NHRA.com. But what I want you to go check out, in addition to WFO with GA and Matt Smith, is Tony Stewart talking about his time at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe you want a deeper understanding of what's going on in the cockpit of a dragster, or maybe you just want to have a little fun. Go to frankhawley.com. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. The next generation of engine builders and machinists, and there's a lot of cross-pollination between Samtech and the Hidden Horsepower podcast, if you think about it, because all those guys are like world-renowned engine builders and machinists. And, how do you get from where you are to where they are? Well, if you're a young person, you can go to samtech.edu and get that started. It's pretty cool to think that there is a road, a ladder, if you will, that you can just kind of climb up and get that knowledge. Go to samtech.edu. And my buddy, Marvin Rodak, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Starting the day with my Rodax coffee. He was out there at Funny Car Chaos at the Texas Motorplex last week. All those records, all the fun, all that stuff. I have yet to debrief with Marvin just yet, but I have been drinking the coffee. 817-924-6821. That's RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Later on in the show, I'll tell you how to get a WFO radio face covering, if you're still into that, as some people are and some people are not, and some free WFO radio stickers. But first, let's not go any further without bringing in, he's been doing it a long time here on WFO out there in Arizona, Mr. Alan Reinhart. What's up, Alan?
Hey, Joe. Good to be back. How was spring break?
Spring break was great, but I'm more interested in your shirt right there. This guy's got a Hidden Horsepower t-shirt on, folks. Look at that. Repping the Total Seal podcast, Hidden Horsepower. How great. You guys can all get that shirt by going to TotalSeal.com. The back is just plain black, but the front, and here's a...
Or you can get your very own collection of piston rings.
Oh, my gosh. It looks like a slinky or, my closet and the wire hangers. No more wire hangers, Alan Reinhart. Come on now. What's he got? That is a teeny tiny little too bigger than your head.
They actually make them bigger than that. But anyway,
I love those.
It was on top of the pile this morning. I have a very sophisticated system where in the morning when I'm getting ready to go, I go to the pile and go whatever's on top, and then oftentimes, like when I do laundry, I take the laundry out. Like at my house, the cycle for the washing machine is usually 35 minutes or so. The cycle for the dryer is 45 minutes or so. And then from the dryer to the hanger is like 10 to 14 business days.
Yes.
So they come out and just get thrown on the couch. And then at some point, I go through and shake them out and lay them down flat so they're not too wrinkled when I have to wear them. And then I go through the pile. And when I get to the bottom of the pile, well, then it's usually time to like shake out the other stuff and do that. So this one, anyway, that's my sophisticated system. Was this one was at the top of the pile today?
Well, this is a bachelor thing, I guess, and I'm in a similar situation. And hearing you say this, not that I want to develop into an Alan Reinhart, not that it would be bad, but for instance, do you have a dresser? Do you have a piece of furniture where these things go? Okay, but do you use it?
No,
No.
not for that.
Exactly, because why should I put the shirts back into the dresser when I'm just going to go and get the shirts out of the dresser tomorrow or the next day? They could just be in the pile waiting.
It's actually not that at my house because I have like 6 million and 4 T-shirts. I counted the other day, and I have a rack, so I actually put them on hangers and hang them up when I put them away. I don't. I have a shelf in the back that some of the stuff, but my like dress tees get hung up so that they're not wrinkled. And then my like everyday shop tees and that some of those will get folded up, and then I just have a big shelf that they go on. But I bet I have no exaggeration. I bet I have 200 or 250 T-shirts that are still wrapped in plastic. Wow. Because people go, "Hey, Laura, I want you to have one of my shirts." It's like, okay, yeah, thanks, and so I just put it someplace, and there it sits.
I got you. No, I listen. Well, you're a drag racer. And one of the cornerstones of drag racing, speed and sound and T-shirts. There's all kinds of T-shirts in drag racing. Like you can't escape T-shirts if you're in drag racing. And me, as a former radio guy, where like free swag includes T-shirts. Oh my gosh, just a million zillion T-shirts all around, and it's just about which one is going to get worn today. If I wore a shirt every day and then threw it away, I would have a lot of clothes for a lot of time. Until I needed a new T-shirt. But that doesn't mean you can't send me new T-shirts, folks. I'm all about it. I'm still all about it.
Yeah, I wear T-shirts to the shop, but if I'm not coming to the shop, I almost always wear polo shirts. So that's why I've got so many new T-shirts that I've never taken out of the plastic, simply because I don't need them. I've got a bunch of these in rotation. And when I was at Total Seal the other day, Matt gave me a couple that were not in plastic. So if I get them, they're not in plastic. They kind of just go right into rotation.
You just don't want to open the prep plastic is what it is. You just, the that's the OCD.
Who knows, 30 years from now, it might be, whoa, you've got a classic collector T-shirt still in plastic. That's worth $12 now. So whatever. So
exactly, that's what my father has. And if he's out there, like I'm always telling him, like we got like Joe Amato 1984 tall wing T-shirt in the plastic. What do we do with this? Like, what do we do with it? Now it's been so long, you don't want to open the plastic, but inside lies this great classic T-shirt. And okay, like years from now, when my dad, unfortunately, he stay with us as long as is possible, but he passes away. And then I live for as long as I possibly can. And then I pass away. And I've got these T-shirts, and whoever is left after that, what are they going to do with the T-shirts in the plastic, Alan?
They're going to use it to wash their Prius.
Exactly. They're going to throw them away. They're going to send them to Goodwill. Right. Exactly. Oh, look at this. Joe Amato, 1985 in the package. Miami Hollywood Speedway in the package. This is great. Throw them away.
Yes. Look, I have a nice clean rag I can use to wash my Tesla with.
Exactly. If Tesla's even still a thing at the end of all of that. So everybody's saying what's up and happy Easter. How was your weekend? My spring break was good. I spent a little time on the beach, got some stuff done around the house, fixed a window on one of my cars. What about you?
Mine was quiet. I got my new motorcycle running. I just got to now get all the paperwork squared away for it. I did spend a little time watching the women's NCAA since my Arizona Wildcats were a part of that. And
Good.
Congratulations to Stanford. They certainly played hard, deserved to win. But I'm really, really proud of the home team. And especially, the coach that made such big headlines with this stuff. And I love the fact that NCAA dissed them so bad going into the Final Four, and then the coach basically gave them take that. So
there you go. Caleb Cox out there on his honeymoon. He's watching us from the honeymoon.
You got better things to do with your honeymoon than watch us.
Yeah,
way better.
You would think. Yeah, but listen, that's if anybody was wondering how must see this show conversation is, that tells you Caleb is out there.
Did you see what they did for a wedding date? Talk about genius. You know what their wedding date was, right?
No.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. That's insanity. 4, 3, 2, 1.
When are you getting married? 4, 3, 2. Anyway, I thought that was cool.
I like it. And today is also Snake's birthday. Happy birthday, Snake.
The king of cool.
Yes, the king of cool. And a lot of photos circulating. Everybody wants to talk about us hanging up the T-shirts, though. They always love they hanging up the T-shirts. You say you have a rack. Did you go to a store or something and get like one of those big round racks, or do you have something that you made in the shop?
No, I think I inherited this one. I'm not 100% sure where it came from. I think that one of my former roommates showed up with it, and I appropriated it, inherited it, or when they moved out, all my junk was hanging on it. They went, you know what, just keep it. I mean, it's, I don't know, 4 foot or 5 foot, just a regular little, it's not fancy. It's just a rack. If I was going to build one, I'd have to build one a whole lot bigger.
You know, Nikki, who does social media for the National Hot Rod Association and every platform, and does such a great job making every platform totally unique and different. So you have to check them all out and everything. She does, you take the old T-shirts and she makes them into like a quilt, right? Yeah. Like it's the important part and makes these fantastic quilts and all. That's kind of a cool, one of the things to do. Look at this guy. I have an Edelbrock participant Indy 1973 T-shirt, never worn.
You win.
Yeah. For now, like who knows what we're going to see in a few minutes? Like what were the T-shirts even made out of at that point?
I think still cotton, Joe. They've been making T-shirts out of cotton.
Oh, okay. They had that back then? Yeah, I guess so.
See, I actually have my house was built before closets were a thing, I guess. I mean, my house was built about the time Moses was in junior high. And I have a friend of mine that just built a new house, and I swear their closet's big as my bedroom. My closet is this big.
Yes.
And in my closet, it is absolutely jam-packed with polo shirts to the point that I couldn't put another shirt in. And every time I get it, it's like, okay, well, I got a pile of 10 new shirts and I got to do something with them. So, it's probably time to clean the closet out. So I go in the closet and go, okay, surely there's stuff in here I can get rid of. Keeping that, and I can't find anything to throw away. Even though some of them I haven't worn in 3 or 4 years, but it's like, I have a Ron Capps, Copenhagen funny card polo. I mean, like a nice, I'm not throwing it away.
No.
I'm not giving it to Goodwill. And, I may not wear it every day, but I just can't bring myself to throw it away. So maybe what I need to do is build another rack. But I've got, my house, I live in a 2-bedroom house and I live by myself. So I've got a closet in each bedroom and then I've got a hall closet. My hall closet is jam-packed with jackets. My bedroom closet is jam-packed with polo shirts, and my spare room closet has got my fancy clothes in it. My tuxedo hangs in there, and a couple of suits, and some of my dress stuff. And so I don't have any place else to hang stuff. That's why it ends up in a pile on the couch.
Well,
and it doesn't bother me in the least.
No, you're just fine. Well, I like it. We all approve. I agree that I think the closet size is one of the areas where you really see the new homes, which is just encouraging, our consumerism. Maybe things were better back in the day. How many things do you need? But at the same time, I have way too many things. I've been trying to down.
It's not about how many things you need. I mean, I didn't need another motorcycle when I bought one. So it's not about it.
What do you want? Go get it, baby. That's exactly right.
I didn't need the rickshaw when I bought it. I didn't need the hearse when I bought it. So
there you go. Look at this. Jim says his wife making masks out of old T-shirts, recycling. All that. Closet Organization 101 with Joe and Alan. You never know what you're going to get on WFO. We'll get to the drag racing. We got 4 Wide Vegas coming up in a couple of weeks. Going to be kind of interesting. But this guy, Clint wants to know if you own a Tesla. If so, so do I. He's super excited to bond with you over your Teslas. Except
I do not own a Tesla.
Bum, bum. Yikes. They're neat,
I
though.
own a 500 horsepower AMG. I own a 700 horsepower Mustang GT early model. And I own a turbo diesel Dodge Ram 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive. I do not own a Tesla.
Not yet, but maybe. So I was out at Fastlane Friday, Homestead Miami Speedway's pit road drag racing last Friday, on the break. And happy Easter, by the way, everybody. I know it's in the rearview mirror, but since we did not speak last week, happy Easter to everybody. And there were a couple of brand new C8s, the mid-engine Corvette out there. And there's all kinds of interesting cars, and it's like a no prep race. There's extremely mild prep, but you got one lane that's asphalt, one lane that's concrete because of the pit road. And, they put a little prep down, very minor, hand pump sprayer kind of deal. So the vet is out there, and I'm super excited to see like what this vet does. And it ran 8th mile 790s, little tire spin. You could hear like chirping the tires a little bit. Tesla dual motor goes out there 740s, and it's just like, my gosh. And it doesn't turn the tire at all. It just goes like a slot.
Four-wheel drive, right?
Is it? I don't know. Is it all wheel? I guess. Yeah. Dual motor, all wheel. I don't know. The answer is
I thought so, but I could be wrong. Everything I know about Teslas, you could fit in a thimble and still have plenty of room left for your thumb.
Well, exactly. But I know that 740 number was pretty impressive, and the 1140 number in the quarter was pretty impressive. But the 790 for the vet also was impressive. Bottom line, everybody was out there having a good time, racing their cars, getting ready for the Easter weekend. As we saw like a lot of people doing a lot of different things. You had the spring fling. You had Funny Car Chaos. We had Class Racer reunion, Tyler Bohannon's race. Tyler and I got to hang out at the Southern Sportsman Showdown, which Bo and Randy Lynn are going to be on the show on Thursday, which ties it all together because they kind of had the promotional idea of the big money class race and had that great success. And then Bo goes out and wins the spring fling. How about this Bo Butner guy? He's pretty good.
Yeah. I think if he ever wanted to give up the car sales business, he could probably do okay in racing. But yeah, I think he actually does better in car sales than he does in racing. But good on him. He had obviously had a great day. He was locked in, and they had I think less cars than they would have loved, but trying to come out of the pandemic and kind of get rolling again. Anything that's a sense of normalcy, I think I'll take. But you had the Sweet 16 also down in South Georgia last weekend.
Yes, the Sweet 16, which was great. Courtney Enders was doing top-end interviews on Flow Racing. Stevie Fast picks up the win, and they had a milestone that Daniel Ferris ran the first 3.4 anything in Radial versus the World competition. It was 3:49 at 2:12.73. Steve Petty tuned Pro Charger car, right? Pro line stuff.
I think it was cheating.
You think so?
Yeah.
What would that constitute in Radial versus the World? Like, how can they cheat anyway?
I don't know.
Me either.
Maybe he didn't have the right tires on it.
Who knows?
I think he really had a funny car tire on it. Nobody noticed.
It's impressive to me.
No, those are radials.
Yes. You can take all your Tesla knowledge and put it in a thimble and still have a bunch of room for my Radial versus the World knowledge. But I'm increasing it. But those numbers are impressive because those are pretty.
No, they're great.
How heavy are those cars? That's my question. I immediately want to know, like, how heavy are the cars? And I know there are some of them are 28.
Yeah, I don't think that they're flyweights, but just by the time you put the safety cage and all this stuff in them, but I don't believe that they have a whole lot of rules other than here's the tire, have at it.
That's it.
That's why you've got the big Pro Charger combinations. You got 900 cubic inch nitrous combinations, and Stevie won it again with a screw blower. But some of the guys that I love the turbo truck. I just can't wait till the guy figures out that deal. The all-wheel drive truck that's making whatever it is, 9,000 pounds of boost or some ridiculous thing. But it's on radials, even though it's on 4 of them. I guess that's legal. And, I love guys like that. They look at the rule book and go, well, it doesn't say you can't run 4 radials and 4-wheel drive. So let's go give it a shot.
Well, exactly. The thing to tie our conversation together, and this is why you got to just roll with it, right? Like we're in the rapids of conversation and you just never know which way it's going to go. You just got to hold on and bring your life preserver. But that is kind of an observation that I've had at being out there at the no prep track where people bring their cars in, is that the all-wheel drive cars really dominate the 8th mile, right? Like you don't have all the chassis work. They're just pulling with all 4 tires and they're destroying everything. So we've got like C7s with all kinds of work and they're loud and they're fast and they just can't get the power to the ground. And then this little Audi all-wheel drive just goes straight down the track because it's pulling with all 4. And I wonder, it was tested way back in the day, like TV Tommy and stuff. And now you mentioned the truck, like all-wheel drive, like 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive systems. Could that ever be a thing in drag racing?
Not in nitro classes, but it's been a thing for a number of years. When the Sonoma pickup came out, I think the first one of those I ever saw running stock eliminator ran like 2.4 seconds under the index, and they went, okay, time out. Let's take a little closer look at this thing. But yeah, I mean, there definitely is a place for them, and that's the beauty of NHRA and the beauty of drag racing in general is that it doesn't matter what you got, bring it out. And whether you're trying to fit something in a specific class or whether you're just trying to beat your best time or whether you just want to beat your neighbor, there's a spot for you in drag racing, and I think that's the beauty of drag racing.
Well, exactly. Yeah. What are you talking about? The Cyclones back in the day, that S10 with the all wheel, and they were in on it early and they gave up on it, right? Like they had a performance all-wheel drive vehicle on the streets, and they were doing stuff, a turbo 6 all-wheel drive back in, what was that, like 1990 that the Cyclone, 89, 90, and then they gave up on it, unfortunately. I don't know. I find it to be interesting. Like maybe there could be a category of the future all-wheel drive, and that's the category. And like whatever you bring, it's just got to be an all-wheel drive system. I know people are angry at me because it's not the standard deal, but I think what I took out of this, the Funny Car Chaos, the Sweet 16, the bracket racing, the Southern Sportsman Showdown, and even the Bristol Dirt Race, all of these things kind of all combining together. People like a little variety. They like things to change. They like to see something new, even if it's only once or twice.
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason inaugural events always do so well. When you have any inaugural something, everybody wants to be a part of the first one. And you can't judge, you can't say, wow, it was a brilliant idea because look, we sold out our inaugural event. Let's see what it does in 3 or 4 years, because that's the real testament. If every event you had was an inaugural, that'd be a piece of cake. But, finding something that people like and people are going to follow. And I think, like the radial versus the world thing, Duck had an ingenious idea back in the day, and it has grown and grown and grown. And it looks like now it's leveling off a little bit, right? You're not having 30 cars show up for the thing, but that is something that definitely had some longevity. And there were a lot of people that looked at it when it was new and said, hey, this is something I want to get involved in. This is something I want to try, whether they already had a car or whether they built a specific car for it. And it definitely had some legs, and it's been around for quite some time now. And then you have some other things where, you have an inaugural event, everybody goes, wow, that was great. And then, you come back in the third year and there's crickets. So it's really a matter of, what goes on, what goes forward going on down the road. You look at, like you mentioned, the fling. When Pete and Kyle did the first spring fling, that was a huge hit from a participant standpoint, but it has now been able to maintain to the point that that's Pete's full-time job. I mean, he doesn't work in the family business anymore, but they've been able to expand the brand, take it to other markets. They know as well as anybody, they couldn't run 5 spring flings a year in Las Vegas. It just wouldn't work.
Right.
But you've got one there. You've got one in Bristol. I believe they're going to National Trail Raceway. And you kind of spread it out a little bit. Then you can make something like that work. But you just got to be careful not to oversaturate any one market. And you have to keep it new and exciting for your competitors.
As simple as that. And I love how they're trying to, I don't want to say own, but dominate the big money bracket racing for fun market, and creating more events and making more fun aspects of it. And you think about the things that they do to make the winner feel special. The limo ride to the Cosmo, that kind of thing. Thinking about Duck, Stevie Fast sitting on a throne, like you win the race, you get on the throne, and you're just like making the pomp and circumstance, in my opinion, all of which pretty much coming out of wrestling. You think about wrestling back in the day, all of that stuff, who's got a cape, who's got a scepter, crazy stuff you wouldn't normally see. But why not? It's showbiz. At some level, it's showbiz, and you want the person to, like, of course they want to win, but boy, I want to sit on that throne. And Stevie Fast did, and he's going to take it everywhere. Like, that's the extra layer of stuff. And that is also true in the National Hot Rod Association. In the next race out there in Vegas, the Vegas 4-wide, we will have the 4-wide, which is our version of something different that happens a couple of times a year. And at this particular one, Top Alcohol for the first time. And I see there's going to be a staging seminar, and I'm assuming you're doing the staging seminar at 5 p.m. on Thursday, but maybe you're not. But as far as I know, you're the guy in charge of the staging seminars. Is that true?
No, I'll be doing that. Yeah, I've done it for everybody else when they ran their first 4-wide stuff. So I'll be doing it again there. Somehow I became like the expert. I did a video for it for Las Vegas Motor Speedway a couple of years ago when the 4-wide was coming out there the first time. I actually flew up there just to do a video to do a 4-wide one-on-one. But no, looking forward to it. And it's interesting. And what I'm going to tell everybody, and what I've told a couple of people that have reached out to me personally, is don't overthink it. It's a pretty simple procedure.
Yeah.
You pull in, you pre-stage. Instead of waiting for one person to pre-stage, now you're waiting for everybody to pre-stage. But once everybody's pre-staged, do your routine. and everybody is going to stage within 2 seconds of each other, and it'll be fine. But no, it'll be my pleasure to walk them through it. And it's interesting, like, the pro mod stuff. Everybody's, oh, well, the pro mod's going to be a disaster, between 3 different power adders and all the stuff, and there's no way these guys will do it. And the first 4-wide pro mod race, I don't believe we had a glitch on the starting line all weekend. Everybody just kind of went click, 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 race. And, you get into a situation there where, nobody wants to be the one guy who's pissing off 3 other people.
Right.
And nobody wants to be the one guy that looks stupid out there. So everybody's concentrating a little extra hard to just make sure that they do the right thing. I still think the funniest thing I ever heard about the 4-wide thing, and this goes back to, I don't know, the first or second one back in Charlotte, when Cruz Pedregon comes around the top end of the racetrack after it was a qualifying run, I believe, and he was in lane 2. And he gets out of the car and he takes his helmet off and he's laughing. And so, what's it? And he goes, the whole staging thing. And I said, what happened? I mean, I'm at the end of the racetrack, right? What do I know? And he said, well, because I'm sitting there and somebody wouldn't stage. And I'm sitting in my car going, I'm going to kill that stupid. And he said, then I see a hand in front of my windshield going. And I went, oh, crap, it's me. So he just got mixed up on the tree and rolled it. But, the one time, and then it's like, okay, now I know, now I'm not going to make that mistake again. But, everybody after they've done it once or twice is going to be fine with it. The alcohol people are going to be fine with it. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we can get the car numbers up a little bit, because as of right now, the funny car count is still a little bit weak.
Yeah, what's up with that? Favorite cars in drag racing, it's very hard to say, what's your favorite car? Because there's so many great cars. It's stock eliminator car. I can make a great argument for, man, I relate to super street cars because there's such a variety of shapes of body styles. But man, alcohol funny cars are right near the top for just about everybody because of the clutch for most of them, the shifting gears, and the starting line procedure, being up there around 8,000 RPM right on the starting line and having to swap feet. It's a spectacular scene. And I don't want to say they're dwindling, but come on, why wouldn't people want to be a part of this chaos this first time? And isn't that just the debate about everything, right? Like, people are afraid of change, but don't you want to be a part of something the first time ever? And I think a couple of weeks ago, you referenced the Super Gas guys that went 4-wide in Charlotte. At first they were, why are we doing this, man? And then they're like, wow, we were just part of history.
Yeah.
If I had an alcohol funny car, there is no doubt I will be traveling to go to this race.
And like I said, there's still plenty of time. So hopefully the numbers will swell a little bit. One thing about alcohol funny cars is, being that it is a pro sportsman category, so to speak, obviously they're a rather expensive class to run, right? It's not super street by any means, or it's not super comp by any means. They're a relatively expensive category to run. They're also probably the most expensive category, maybe pro mod you could throw in there, where the vast majority of the guys are not professional racers. And I don't mean to take anything away from them. I mean, they're businessmen. There are people that do other things for a living, and that this is their weekend getaway or the weekend golf game. And I think it's been more affected by pandemic issues than a number of other categories, simply because, you look at a team that goes, okay, look, we have a very successful business. We like racing funny cars. That's what we're going to do. When business dips, the funny car gets parked. That's just the first thing. You don't have all the disposable income or the discretionary income to go racing with. When business comes back around, well, the funny car will come back out. And we've seen that a lot of times over the years with different people in business that, when business slows down, when things tighten up, they maybe step back for 6 months or for a year. And then when things kind of start freewheeling again, they come back and join us again. And I think that, we'll see more of that. I just think right now that the alcohol funny car class seems to be more affected by pandemic issues than most others. And hopefully once we get all of this stuff behind us, we're creeping forward at least, that things will come back around.
And on that note, not that anybody cares, but I have received my first wave of vaccination. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm on the road, and you think about everything like, what's holding us up, or what's our big issue, or what's our biggest block? And it's all comes back to the exact same thing. The pandemic. Looking at the Rangers game the other day, and there was good pub and there was bad pub. It's like, look at all the people that showed up for opening day at the Rangers stadium. That's great. And some people were saying, oh, they're not wearing masks, and some weren't, and some were, and all that. But it wasn't 100%. Like, it wasn't like packed. There were enough people that said, not ready yet, even when they were told You can go. It's opening day. It's wide open. You don't have to worry. And still, a lot of people just decided, yeah, we're gonna not go to this opening day. And opening day is always sold out everywhere, right? And that's it. We just got to keep that in our mind. As much as this, the racehorse wants to run, we still got a couple of things in our way before we get back to that point. Whenever that happens.
Well, I've said it from the beginning, and I still believe that everybody's got to take their own personal responsibility. And if you're comfortable doing something and you want to get out and you want to do it, then that's your decision. And, as long as you're feeling good. I would hope that anybody that goes, no, I don't feel good, I'm just not, was going to at least stay home for a few days and make sure that they're not going to be out there spreading. But I think you got to make your own decision. I think whether you're in a high risk group or like I have friends that we called and said, hey, why don't you swing by the shop, right? Everybody knows I have the coldest beer in town. Stop by. We're not going to hug, right? We're not going to get in a dog pile. Stop by, have a beer. We can keep our distance. We can do our stuff. And they're like, my mom is in a real high risk group, and I go by and see her every weekend to check on her, do this, and I just don't feel comfortable right now. Okay, fine. Yeah. You've got to make that decision for yourself. And I think that there's a lot of that going around. Even people that are relatively young and relatively healthy are still, I think, making the decision for other people that they're in contact with or other people in their lives. If my mom was still alive and I was still seeing my mom on a regular basis and she, was whatever, 75, 80 years old and maybe, not in the best of health, then I would be a whole lot more careful about what I did when I was going to go see my mom. So, I understand that. I think, but like I said, I think everybody's got to make their own personal decisions. I think, if you look at it and go, look, I want to go out, I want to do this, I'm going to wear my mask, I'm going to try to keep my distance, I'm going to do everything I can, then that's wonderful. And if you look at the situation and go, you know what, I've been vaccinated, I'm not wearing my mask, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do, that's fine. I think you just need to respect the other people that want to keep a little distance. And if you think that right now what I need to do is just kind of stand pat and sit tight a little bit longer, then that's fine too. But I think everybody's got to make their own decision.
See, Corey Savoy, as he has been known to do, cuts right to the real meat of it. He says it has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's just nobody wants to see the pitiful Rangers. So maybe that's the truth. And who knows? And Monica says, she goes, so did Bruton Smith purchase Atlanta Dragway? And if so, do you think he'll make it a 4-wide track? And I hadn't heard any of that, but then somebody else is suggesting that was an April Fool's joke, which is why I hate April Fools. And I told the Patreons earlier this week that I hate April Fools because of all the misinformation. Like, I don't know if Don Schumacher and Connie Coletta are going to suit up and race, but I read it on NHRA.com on April 1st, and I immediately became agitated because I would actually like to see that, and that's not happening.
No, it's not happening. And I have no inside information, but I've been around this for a while, and I like to think that I'm smarter than the average bear. If Bruton Smith bought Atlanta and it was still going to be a racetrack, would this be the final Southern Nationals ever?
No, probably not.
Just throwing it out there.
I see they've added Pro Stock, which makes me happy.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was a good choice. I think, there are certainly a lot of Pro Stock fans down in that part of the country. Stock, Super Stock, Pro Stock, the Southeast is a big hotbed for that. Obviously, with Warren and Kurt living down there's a lot of fans in that part of the world that still are very good, hardcore Pro Stock fans. And giving them one last chance to see him run at Atlanta, I think was a very good idea on NHRA's part.
And so I mentioned this on the Ignition show. I can now say that my next race out there with you guys will be at Atlanta and the final Southern Nationals, which I'm very happy. Obviously, Nate in Vegas lives there. And so I'll be watching on the NHRA.tv. But I'm excited to be able to go to the final Southern Nationals. Like, to me, that's like, wow, it's sad, but I understand, people have been telling me there's houses like right there. We'll all be there to see it. But if there's a race you're going to go to, folks, I think you got to take in, we're just talking about inaugurals, right? Like, everyone wants to go to the inaugural. Have I ever been to a final ever? I don't think I have a final ever, except for Miami Hollywood Speedway, the last drag race. That's going to have a weird vibe to it.
Yeah, it is. But, circle of life, right? Things go on. Englishtown, I was at the last race at Englishtown without knowing it was the last race at Englishtown.
Yeah.
And, giving fans an opportunity. I think that's. I mean, I can't say they did it wrong. It has nothing to do with me making the business decision, but I think if you know that this is going to be the last opportunity, then you should let your fans know that, hey guys, we're not going to do this anymore. If you want one more chance to come back and, relive your memories or your history or be a part of, then, come on down. We'd love to have you. And I think that's what NHRA is doing with Atlanta. They easily, because their plan is to race for the rest of the year, their bracket program and their normal Saturday night program and whatever other events they've got sprinkled in there. But this is going to be the last Southern Nationals. And I think giving the fans an opportunity to come out one more time and see one more Southern Nationals, a place where so much history has been made and so many great things have happened over the years, I think that's considerably better than if they had run the race and then they're 6 months from now going, well, that's it, track's gone, it's not going to happen anymore. And, you kind of leave everybody feeling like, I just want one more chance, right? It's like, I just want a chance to say goodbye. I want a chance to see it one more time. And so at least this way you've got that chance.
Well, and it's what is it? Is it cathartic? I don't know. It's just people are saying, weren't you at Englishtown? And the answer is, yeah, I was at Englishtown, but I didn't know it was going to be the last race. And I think that makes a big difference. I remember listening to the Be There tape that Steve Evans put together and the radio commercials of the last drag race at Lions and like all those moments like this coming together of like, we're all here and we all know that this is the last time that we're all going to be here together for this purpose. And there's something big to that, like closure or whatever, or going out with a big moment. So I'm excited to be able to participate in that. And I don't want to participate in too many more of them, frankly, because I want new and more drag strips, not fewer and less. I understand the situation here, but I just hope people come out to that and take it all in with us, as many as are allowed.
Yeah, and I think they will. I don't know, what the restrictions are going to be out there or what kind of local protocol we're going to be under. But I think people will for exactly that. When Charlie Allen's lease was up at what was then Firebird, what was going to become Wild Horse Pass, Charlie publicly said, this is it. This is the end of Firebird, even though it wasn't the end of the racetrack. But he did that knowing that people would want to come out, knowing that it would be a good promotional tool to use, even though the track was going to go on. And people did come out because, people hear that and they go, oh, geez, the track's not going to be there forever again. Well, that wasn't the case. But, and at Atlanta, from my understanding, that is the case as far as it being the final Southern Nationals. But people will have a chance to come out and see the place at least one more time.
Exactly. Of course, that's at the end of the month. We've got Vegas before then. Jalen has got a question that I think is kind of interesting. I don't know the answer. Maybe you do. This is, like a Brockmeyer thing. But the 4-wide tree deal, does that only work with Pro Tree? Can we only go 4-wide with Pro Tree? And I'm not talking about handicap racing because that would just be the craziest. But is that possible? Like, technically, can they make it work?
Yeah, you could do a full countdown. I don't know if there is a program to do 4-wide handicap racing, but you certainly can program the tree to do a full tree countdown 4-wide.
Well, that would be very interesting. So, but wow, can you imagine 4-wide handicap style racing? Like the real slow one goes, and then the intermediate one goes, and then this one goes, and that one goes, and they're all looking over. It would be a mess.
It would be a disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but how do you drive the stripe?
You don't. You do. You just got to be. You got to run the number. You got to dial it out. You got to run.
I mean, I would not vote for that if I was on the committee to vote. If they said, "Hey, we're going to do this," I'd go, "Okay, let's give it a shot." But I wouldn't vote for that if I was on the committee to vote. When you talk about that style of racing, the finish line is a big part of it, and I don't think that taking the finish line aspect out of it would be a good thing to do. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. Well, didn't they have a conversation and several about eliminations at Super Comp, Super Gas? Like when they did the time runs, like what would it take for us to do eliminations in Super Comp and Super Gas? And they ultimately decided that it would fundamentally change the nature of driving that race. You would have to drive totally differently. And so they did not do it. That's at least how I remember it going down.
The one thing that might be fun, and it would just be a matter of how many people showed up for it, would be class eliminations 4-wide in stock or super stock. But, if you only have 2A stock automatics, what difference does it make? And if you could have enough cars there to do a 4-wide class eliminations, I think that might be interesting. But that's a performance race, right? That's where you're just trying to get to the finish line, and I think that is really the the forte of 4-wide is that you're trying to get there as quick and fast as you possibly can. Nothing else matters. But you wouldn't want to be down there. Can you imagine being in a super comp dragster where you can't see over the wall? Right? Where are those guys? And no, I'm not seeing it.
You're setting up for 90 and just hold it wide open and look at the light. Hope it comes on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be the only way you could race it. But I think that fundamentally takes a very valuable skill out of the equation for the drivers that have spent years cultivating that skill. I mean, it would be like telling whether it's Fletcher, whether it's Biondo, whether it's Justin, whether it's Luke, whether it's, okay, guys, here's the deal. Reaction times don't count anymore.
Right.
Like after all these years when I spent and all this practice and all this stuff to make my car do so I can be 002 or 006 now you're telling me that reaction time doesn't count anymore? That's half the game. And I don't think you can just throw that half of the game away.
I got you. And, when we mentioned .90 racing, I can't help but think of Ray Miller, who just got married. Ray and Christine, congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, I hope they are not also watching WFO from their honeymoon. But, I think of Ray, and I think this guy is one of our greats, .90 racers. And so congratulations to the two of you, and happy marriage.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Does that mean that there will be an RM4 at some point, probably?
Yes, you would think.
Does Miller race cars make juniors yet? Because they will.
They definitely will, and they should. But for all the ADD kids out there, they want the underside of the car chromed or powder coated. I hear they do a great job. Let's talk a little bit about the Camping World Drag Racing Series. That one didn't count. Happens every now and again. Josh Hart's still riding high. This guy gets to be the first-time winner for a long, long time. But just
point leader.
He is the points leader. I'm looking at the points as we speak, and just kind of looking at the way it's all shaken out. We will have a countdown this year. That is the plan. I know it's very early to start thinking about it, but performance-wise, there were a lot of people that showed me that they're ready to run here in 21.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a fun year. As far as Josh, I don't know what his schedule plans are. I know originally he was not intending on running the full tour, and I don't know if that has changed or not. But if you're going to talk countdown to the championship, I don't believe that he's going to make it if he only wants to run 10 races or 8 races or whatever his schedule is. But I do think that we'll see what we saw every time that one of those cars came out. Anytime Ron Douglas showed up with fill-in name of driver here, they were going to create headaches for the touring pros. And I think Josh is going to continue that tradition no matter how many races he decides to run this year. But obviously the Torrance cars have got great performance. It's great to have Brittany back out there. I think it'll take a couple of races for the JFR cars to kind of hit their stride, even though Robert went to the final. I still think that, being back at the track and getting into that routine, I've said before, all the racing is done at home. You go to the racetrack just to prove you did your homework, but it still takes, I think, a little bit to get back into the rhythm, and having one race and then having a month off. I think once we get back to, Atlanta and then Charlotte and then Richmond and then Epping, they start coming at you a little bit quicker. I think that those guys are going to hit their stride. Should be fun. Obviously the DSR cars are going to be tough. Antron's going to be around all year. I am stunned that it has been as long as it's been since Leah has won a race, as good as her car is. I expect to see her back in the winner's circle pretty soon. So it should be fun. I mean, I think that it's just a good time to be a fan, because for me, it's no fun when you go to the races and somebody is dominating. If you go in now, having said that, when Steve Torrance won whatever it was, 11 races, when Tony won 15, it wasn't like he was a tenth and a half in front of the field, right? Every week they were getting some good rounds, they were getting some lucky rounds, they were doing some stuff, and it becomes how long can a guy keep the streak going? But if you go back in the day when Snake was dominant, when Bernstein was dominant, when Bob Glidden had a 10th on the field, and you go in going, okay, well, who's going to be runner-up this week? I don't think that's any fun. I think when you've got the performance as close as it is, then how long can the Capco boys keep going? I think is really interesting when everybody else is running right there with them, but yet they keep winning. And I think that's a situation we're in right now. If you look at Top Fuel, if I said, okay, Joe, next race, not the 4 wide because that's kind of a unique thing, but let's just go straight to Atlanta. Next race in Atlanta. Antron wins. Are you shocked?
No.
Billy Torrance wins. Are you shocked?
No.
Steve Torrance?
No. Of course not. Definitely not. Nobody.
Doug?
Definitely not.
Josh? I mean,
he's already won.
And you look at that, and I think that's what makes it exciting for the fans. I think when you also look at the fact that, every time TJ Zizzo shows up, I think he's a threat. Even though he hasn't won a race yet, he is still a threat. Justin Ashley has won a race. I think he's a threat. I think if he wins, nobody's going to go, wow, didn't see that coming. I think Scott Palmer could win a race. Now, that would be a mild surprise, I think, just because he doesn't seem to have quite the performance of the show-off guys. But I don't think anybody's going to fall over out of their chair if Scott Palmer wins a race, because he has got a car that is solid and that's consistent. And I think that's what makes it fun to be a fan. There was times when I would go to the races, early in my career, when literally, okay, qualifying's done and you get the ladder out and go, hey, semifinals, Joe versus Alan. That's going to be pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore because there are so many. You look at first round and go, holy smokes, how'd those guys end up there? Or, gee, how come this guy was so bad in qualifying that, he's now got to race her first round or whatever the deal is. And that's what makes it compelling for the fans to come to the race, is that it is an exciting show all day long. If I'm not mistaken, at Pomona, weren't the first 2 cars down the racetrack Josh and Clay?
Yes.
That's your first 2 cars down the racetrack, right? It's not, okay, let's wait until 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we have some compelling matchups, because it starts right out of the box. From the time they say, and the home of the brave, it's on. And that's what makes it fun to be a fan. And funny cars, the same thing. I could name 10 funny cars. Tim Wilkerson hasn't won in quite some time. Tim Wilkerson wins. Are you going to be shocked?
Oh, no.
Of course not.
Especially now that Richard Hartman has gone 300 miles per hour in a fuel altered. It's like, makes perfect sense.
But you can run right down the list of funny cars, and it's the same thing. There's 10 or 12 guys on that list that nobody would be stunned if they won. It's been a while since Cruz won. Are you going to be stunned if Cruz won?
No,
I'm not. I expect him to win.
He must win. Cruz must win. Like, we're talking about Cruz as in oh, isn't it great? But he made all those moves. If it was the New York Yankees who made all these moves and then came up with nothing, it would be a problem. Cruz has to win this year. I know it's nice and we're 1 race in, but they've got to score a win. That's hanging over them. Got to, must.
Again, it's compelling from the time they fire the first pair of race cars, at least to me, that, hey, look, this race, this isn't just, okay, we're killing time, get these guys out of the way till the real racers show up. This race could have a big effect on what happens the rest of the day. And it's like that from top to bottom, across all the classes. I think the only class that even maybe has a dominant player is Pro Stock Motorcycle. Right. Because Angel ran huge numbers out in Gainesville, but right now, Matt Smith Racing looks like the dominant team in Pro Stock Motorcycle. And, if somebody wants to prove me wrong, I mean, bring it. Jerry Savoie certainly has the tools, but he really hadn't had the performance as of late. And, I mean, I love you, Jerry. I'm not telling you anything that I don't think you don't know. You're looking at going, why aren't we doing better? And the rest of us are as well. But, I just really think from top to bottom, it's a great time to be a fan, because when you get your cheeseburger and you get your soda and you sit down in a grandstand, it's going to be crazy. And that's what brings people out.
And again, not to reflect on last year and what happened, but I genuinely left Arizona last year with the feeling that this could be the greatest year ever of NHRA drag racing. Like, I really felt that. And I know a lot of people have been around for a lot longer than me, but they've seen a lot more than me. And it's a tough task to say this could be the greatest year ever. But I really believe that, because the rules, everyone seems to have access to power. Everybody's got access to technology. You got guys like, Bobby and Dom and Richard Hartman and others, like, working through the pits, helping out some of the smaller teams. And there's been this cross-pollination and an understanding, like, man, we need a healthy sport, and that's what we've got. And then obviously the pandemic happened, but here we are, hopefully on the other side of it, getting ready to come out. We got a lot of interest. Guys like Artie Allen, who bought top fuel cars that are ready to go fast. Palmer, who invested all that money to have a Capco clone ready to go out there and go fast. It's go time. As soon as we can like close the book on the pandemic and get the fans like feeling as comfortable as they need to be to go out there and be there, we have got such good times. And hopefully that translates to sponsors and sponsorships. Like I know there's a lot of discussion about the economy. I don't know what it's going to be. I hope it's great. If you watch CNBC and all these other things, they talk about it like it's a thoroughbred racehorse that's ready to break out and run, which that's great. Hopefully the sponsors got money. They want to get people buying their stuff. How are they going to do it? They're going to use drag racing. I'm just so optimistic and excited about what's going to happen as soon as we can get there. And this break between the Gator Nationals in Vegas, I know why, and then Vegas and then Atlanta. But hopefully once we get that momentum you were talking about, get that momentum where we're actually out there, we're doing it, we're seeing it, we're watching it, it's on TV, we've got results to talk about. That's going to be where we really break out.
I hope so. Obviously time is going to tell, but, and I'm, I certainly am not so naive that I think we have seen the last change we're ever going to make, right? Everything now is etched in stone and this is what's going to happen. I think we're still going to have to probably do some bobbing and weaving and maybe some reschedule and some things throughout the course of the year, depending on what we've got to deal with wherever we're headed this week, because we always have to abide by whatever the local protocols are, whether it's a state protocol or whether it's a town protocol or a county protocol. And I think there will probably be some further adjustments going down the road, but I hope that we can just get out and start getting something, start building a little momentum, get some cars on the racetrack, get the industry moving again. And I think that, once we do, then I agree with you. I think, once the momentum kind of catches on, then, we'll be able to kind of run with it or flow with it, however you want to go.
Exactly. All right. One final question, and then we'll wrap it up. From going bracket racing, what's up, Joe and Alan? Any thoughts on getting rid of the Camaro show in Pro Stock? I feel like this has already been addressed. Well, you got the Quadras out there. How many Mustangs do they have? The three?
3 or 4, and we got the Dodges out there. And, yeah, so, I think that, there are still certainly, more Camaros than anything else out there, but there are other cars that are coming out there competing as well. And, I think the Quadras have shown, with the power that they've got under the hood coming out of Frank's shop, that they can run with anybody. Alan Pruszynski still looks like he's struggling a little bit on the power side of it, but having a teammate now and having a solid commitment from the E-Car Mover, I think is going to help his program along. So hopefully he'll be able to step it up a little bit. So, in the meantime, we'll just we'll go with what we got. I think even when it was Camaros and Camaros, the fact that the KB Racing guys and the elite guys don't exactly sit down for coffee and donuts in the morning, still to me makes it compelling to watch. If you go to see Pro Stock only because I'm a Dodge guy and I just root for the Dodgers, then you haven't had a lot to root for lately. I understand that completely. But if you're simply a Pro Stock fan, then I think it's really easy to pick a team and get with it right now. Whichever team you want to pick, I'm fine with. But I think that there's plenty going on out there as far as the rivalries between the two major teams, and then you throw in the McGaheys, who are just like an annoyance to everybody because they do it their own way. They've shown that they don't really care for the elite guys or the KB guys. They're just coming out there to race their own cars, and if you get in the way, they're going to try to run over you. And I'm all for it, especially with Mason being out there now, and they either don't care or don't know. Let me tell you, nobody pulls up next to Mason McGahey and goes, okay, that guy's probably going to be 40 on the tree.
No.
He makes people nervous because he's young, because he's been so good on the starting line, and because they know he's got enough power under the hood to close the deal. And so, a guy like that makes people nervous. You don't want to get beat by the punk kid, right? I love you, Mason. I don't mean that in a bad way, but if Erica loses to Greg, okay, I lost to a guy who's won 95 races. If Greg loses to Erica, okay, I lost to a 4-time champion. You expect, but nobody wants to. I lost to an 18-year-old kid. I did what? Yeah. Nobody wants to be that guy, and that just ramps up more pressure on them. And I think that kind of drives, some of the Mason McGahey fans. If you're against the establishment, how can you not like Mason? And even though they're driving cars that get horsepower from some of the others, you look at Dallas Glenn, who, okay, he's not a teenager, but he's still a new face in the class, a young guy. You look at Kyle Koretsky. I think there's plenty going on out there in Pro Stock right now to make it exciting.
Well, exactly. And the category is popular for reasons that are many, and only a couple of them are connected to the manufacturer. Like back in the day when you're getting big block Chevrolets ordered from Chevrolet, it's different. The engine has evolved beyond that, and they're using the same engine in all these body styles. And if the Quadras go out there and start winning, that Mustang sure looks slick we're going to see more and more. And in 5 years, who knows? Maybe we'll be talking about the all Mustang show if it's that much better.
I just came up with what might be my most ingenious idea ever. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Now, it starts with a Texas connection. Okay.
Yes.
Then we have a family rivalry that we can grow. And then we've got to keep the manufacturing rivalry going. Okay. So are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is my brilliant idea for Pro Stock. Courtney Enders in a third McGahey car.
Ooh. I like it. Courtney versus Erica, and they got to run it's a Mustang though. She's got to be in a Mustang, but just to make everything confused and weird. I like it. Anything that we can do to get Courtney Enders out there would be great. And I like it.
The chance of that happening is roughly the same as, me being in a John Force funny car.
Yes.
But what the heck? Wouldn't it be fun?
Well, it would be fun. And I don't know. I was having a conversation with someone recently. I think about, Angel going to Harley and like all the interest that generates to Vance and Hines, all the interest that generated. And back to the wrestling. Notice I don't say wrestling, the wrestling analogy, like the storylines, like what storyline would really shake things up in Pro Stock? Like someone moving from somewhere to somewhere else. People love those stories. That's most of sports talk radio, the free agent stuff. It gets people upset. Some people will get mad that someone's doing something. Other people will be happy that they're like, those are the storylines that people like to follow. So yeah, I get it. I think it would be hysterical and funny, and maybe it can happen, but I highly doubt it. But I like where your head's at. Most importantly, we need more of that stuff.
Yeah. I just think, as I said, right now, I think is a pretty compelling time to be a fan. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you don't like something that's fine. I'm not telling you got to love it. I'm just saying that I think there are plenty of reasons to love what's going on right now. I just wish we could race on a more regular basis. And if you want to debate it with me, shoot me a note, announcer@nhra.com. Let's chat.
That's it. Simple as that. Announcer@nhra.com and always here on WFO. And that's the problem is we've got all of this pent up frustration of not being able to see our normal deal. And hopefully it is coming to an end in a relatively soon fashion, light at the end of the tunnel, all that stuff. Joe got his vaccination, so it can't be that long, et cetera, and so on. Any final thoughts, Alan? Anything you'd like to throw out there that maybe we didn't get to, or I didn't happen to bring up, subject that you want the people to think about between now and next week?
Nah, just that I'm ready to go racing. We're getting closer and closer to the 4 wide in Vegas, and then we'll move on to Atlanta and to Charlotte, and hopefully get a little bit of momentum coming. But, congratulations to everybody that won their events last week. Stevie Fast down at the Sweet 16. You mentioned Bo out at the Fling. There were some good stock and super stock racing as well. And there's always something going on. The only thing I want to close, and this has become like not quite a closing catchphrase, but if you've got nothing to do on Saturday night, find out what's going on at your local racetrack. There's got to be something going on. Wherever you are, there is a local racetrack. If you don't have an NHRA drag strip in your community, that's fine. Check out, see what's going on at the local circle track or whatever, and support your local tracks because they need it now more than ever. And they're putting on some great shows, and selling another ticket or another hot dog, it should mean a lot to them.
Absolutely. Got to support your local track. It's an ecosystem. That's the thing that I don't know that people totally understand, but the local tracks are part of the ecosystem that is professional racing. And without those local tracks, the parts manufacturers, the machinists, like everybody that we talk about on a regular basis, Total Seal, like they can sell rings to pro stock guys, but they need to sell rings to everybody so that they can R&D for the pro stock guys and come up with the best stuff. I love our sport. That's the thing. The cars are cool, but to take them and race them and be on the cutting edge of competition like so many are, that's a unique thing, and I love it. So great stuff. Alan, great job. Thank you so much. I guess we'll see you next week. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, and the thing I love about our sport is the something for everybody aspect, right? Everything from Top Fuel to Tesla. If you've got something that you just want to come out and test on a racetrack, come test it on a racetrack. Find an NHRA track near you and find out what their schedule is. I'd love to have you.
That's it. And it's all available on NHRA.com. And yeah, we got to work on first time racers. That's one that I would love. There's so many fans in the stands. How many of them have actually taken their own car and gone down the track in their local community for a little bit of fun? Like we got to get them out there to do that. I think some do, but we got to encourage more. make more racers. More racers means more racetracks. Simple as that. Alan, great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Talk soon.
There he goes. NHRA's Alan Reinhart with us here on WFO Radio. What a great conversation. This is what happens on Tuesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern time on WFO. Please like our YouTube channel. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers. We need to get there. You know, I had let the YouTube channel I didn't know what to do with it for so long. And now this new streaming show has enabled us to juice the YouTube channel. We're putting some specific content on there, YouTube only. So go to WFO Radio TV on YouTube and subscribe and click the bell so you always get a notification when the show is on something new. A lot of people watch on Facebook as well because they can comment super easily. And I think that is fine. We're on Twitter as well. And the home of it all, WFOradio.com. Because after all, it is an audio podcast. The Ignition Show is in the archive. And we just try to make that fun. For instance, I saw Godzilla versus Kong. Because I've always been a Godzilla guy. I always loved Godzilla from the time I was a little kid. How do you not like a giant monster that steps on buildings, right? Especially if you're a kid. And to see the latest version of the movie, Godzilla versus Kong, was great. Talked a little bit about that. Talked about the, obviously, Baylor beating the Zags last night. But a lot of good stuff, fun stuff, free-flowing, freewheeling conversation on the Ignition podcast. You can get that at WFOradio.com, wherever you choose to subscribe. Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud. There's a whole bunch of options listed. All right, let me tell you who's on the show for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we have got Dave Fletcher from DSR going to be on. And if you don't know Dave, you definitely know Dave. Dave is a friend and been around the sport for a long, long time, and an intellect, and got a lot going on. He is the track specialist for Don Schumacher Racing. So when DSR wins, Dave wins. That's it. And I'm going to ask him about all that stuff. But he's been involved in the sport for many, many years. And we're going to catch up with Dave. But we're also going to catch up with Richard Hartman, the world's fastest fuel-altered racer, who goes out there and steals the headlines of the Funny Car Chaos deal. Like the 64 Funny Cars thing was cool. And, Dell going 329 and making the final was cool. But the thing that to me broke out the most, and I'm up for you to share your opinion, certainly tomorrow when Richard comes on, I think that the Richard Hartman, Tim Wilkerson, fuel altered run was the thing that broke out the most. Derek, one of our listeners, has supplied this photograph as well as some others and a video. What do you think? But I think that the 4-second run and the 300 mile per hour run in a fuel altered by Richard Hartman wins the day. And he's going to be on the show. So we're going to have Dave and we're going to have Richard. And then on Thursday, that's right, this is a full week of WFO. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the full Monty, all of it. We're going to have Bo Butner and Randy Lynn going to be on the show together, and possibly some others, as in people who won a whole lot of money recently. That's going to be the theme of the show. People who won a whole lot of money recently. And I've got some messages out to some of those people as we speak. So we'll see how it all goes. I'm trying to click on something to see if who we're going to have on the show. One of those people who won a whole lot of money recently is working during the time of the show, so he will not be able to be on the show. But Bo and Randy Lynn, definitely. Promoters of the Southern Sportsman Showdown, winners of the Spring Fling, like all of that's going to be kind of wrapped into the show, and we'll talk about that. So we're going to have a big week here on WFO. Be sure to subscribe. Get your comments into the comments section right now. Do it, and I will tell you about the people who make it possible for us to do WFO radio. And, I'm always telling you to subscribe and click the bell and subscribe and don't miss a show and all of that. And it really makes a difference as we approach sponsors and people who want to, preach the word, like Force used to say, preach the gospel of drag racing. That's what I believe we're doing here on the show. And folks like Total Seal make it possible. If you're going to build a bracket engine, a stock eliminator engine, if you've got a secret Formula One project going in your backyard, Total Seal makes rings for these projects. And they are, based on what I have learned on our Hidden Horsepower podcast, so respected by the world's best engine builders for many reasons, one of which is their customer service. Like, yeah, they make a great ring, but they work with the engine builder to figure out how to make their combination better. And Lake Speed will always say, it's a soup or stew. The ring seal and everything that happens inside the combustion chamber it's not always going to work exactly the same way. There's many different factors, and that's why you got to listen to Hidden Horsepower. But ultimately, TotalSeal.com. Get yourself a new set of rings for your race car when you put a new engine together. And samtech.edu, the Massengill family, really the whole ecosystem that is drag racing and is motorsports, they are fitting a need, which is the next wave. Who's going to be the next engine guy? Who's going to be the next machine shop kid? Samtech.edu is where you can get started. And if you have a passion for this, go to their website, give them a call and inquire. Like, where will I get? It's down in Houston, Texas area. What will I learn? What will I do? Can I get placed in a position afterwards? And the answer is yes to all of those questions. Samtech.edu. Marvin Rodak is not really dealing with the future of drag racing. He's dealing with the future of today. Like, will you make it? And the answer is yes. If you have a little Rodax coffee, I am enjoying Rodax, and you should too. 817-924-6821. He was a big sponsor of Funny Car Chaos. In fact, one of the reasons why we have dived into Funny Car Chaos so much is because of Marvin and his passion for it and all the great stuff that he has shown to the world. So go to RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com, RODAKS, and get yourself a bag of coffee and enjoy it. And he used to have these 100% nitro barrel mugs for sale. And it was a partnership between him and Bob Z. And you could get the mugs. Of course, got my mug. And so maybe you could get one. He's got one of those lying around also. Big shout out to NitroFishRacing.com, where you get the 10th anniversary WFO radio t-shirts. Really appreciate you guys buying those. 10 years as a podcast. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Thank you very much, Frank and Lana, for doing great things and supporting the show. And again, check out Tony Stewart on NHRA.com. Also want to remind you guys, the Patreons. We now have 37 Patreons. It's amazing how we're picking up Patreons. It's just humbling when someone goes on to patreon.com/WFO radio. You can find it on our website and volunteers $10 a month. We got a guy last week put $20 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, and everybody gets the same stuff. It's just how much do you want to help the show and support WFO as we try to grow and reach out to new people and do new things and get swag, special stuff for the Patreons, all that. And it's been amazing to see. So if you want to join the Patreon club, get to witness the Ignition Show recording session, be involved as the brain trust of WFO. Like whenever we're going to do something new, we ask the Patreons their opinions. We do not always listen, but we definitely ask and have them volunteer their thoughts and opinions. We appreciate it. Go to WFOradio.com and join on if you would like to. We certainly appreciate you guys and those of you that are on there, the Patreons. It's been pretty amazing. If you'd like some WFO radio stickers and you want to display them on your car, like world record holder Joe Arrowsmith, you can certainly do that. Go to WFOradio.com and you can see exactly, go to the WFO store where we've got all kinds of great products listed, but you can get them for free by just sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. Yeah, I'm still doing it. As much as I would much rather sell you a face covering with some stickers for just $10, I'll send them out for free. But you got to stamp it up and you got to do all the busy work, as in fill out the self-addressed stamped envelope. All right, let's see what else. Yes, I did get my vaccine, my first wave of the vaccine. I'll tell you that story as you're putting your final comments into the comments section. I went to my local grocery store and I had heard Publix in South Florida, which is a very fine grocery chain, one right near my house. I had signed up with the state when 40 and older became available. Which was last Monday when I was on vacation. So I was up early at 6 a.m. signing on to everything. It didn't work out with the state deal, but I just decided to go, cruise past the pharmacy at my local Publix. And I walked up to, I was like, vaccines? You guys got vaccines? And I was trying to get something illegal, which is the joke, but I wasn't. And they said, well, you got to put your name on a list and all that. So I talked to the pharmacist and they said, yeah, we'll put your name on the list to see if you have, and we'll call you at the end of the day if somebody doesn't show up. So I was fourth on the list and I figured no chance, right? It made me feel like I was flying standby. This is exactly what it was, the feeling, like getting an upgrade or flying standby on an airline. I'm fourth on the list. There's no chance. So I went home. And sure enough, I got a call and I went running over there and they gave me the first shot, Moderna. And I can tell you that I did, feel it. People are saying like, oh, I don't feel anything. No, I felt it. I feel like I'm very in touch with what's going on inside most of the time. Like, am I getting sick? Do I have a bug? What's going on? Do I have allergies? All of that. And so I just kind of felt like a tingling sensation going on there. I got a little head congestion, which might have been regular allergies anyway. But that lasted like, a day or two. And now I'm good. And I'm just like clicking off the days till I can get my next one and get up to 94% protection. And, am I going to recommend it to anybody? I've decided I'm not recommending anything to anybody anymore, except for like my great sponsors or things that I like. You do you, whatever you want to do. You know what the experts are saying? Because I've had friends that are like, I'm not taking that thing. And then other people are like, yeah, I'm definitely taking the thing. And what's the point of arguing with 1,000 people at the same time anyway? Just everybody do what they think is best and listen to experts that you trust. And, there's going to be someone that listens to an expert that they trust that something bad is going to happen to. And there's going to be someone that doesn't listen to anybody and just does their own random thing and good things are going to happen to them. It's like the random nature. But me, what I did was I went and got it. That's what I did. That's what was best for me. Being in a very populated area, wanting to go out, wanting to do fun things, wanting to feel, having this desire to get back to the, carefree 2019 year where I, worry less about being infected or infecting my parents or any of that stuff. So that's what I chose to do. It's all up to you. And we're to that point, and of course, everybody knows, like, can you be part of the solution versus part of the problem? I think everybody I know all wants to be part of the solution as opposed to being part of the problem. So maybe use that as a methodology. Because, people don't, there's a lot of people that, they don't want to listen to this person or they don't want to listen to that person. I had a guy tell me, I'm not letting other people tell me how to live. I admire that. Don't let other people tell you how to live. But at the same time, can you be part of the solution and not be part of the problem while also not allowing people to tell you how to live? Like, it's a calculus that's up to you guys, and I'm not doing it. Plus, I got mines. Let's see what the comments are. Remember last week where I asked for comments and so many comments came in that I couldn't end the show? We had to just keep on going and going and going, which I don't mind. Let's see. Jeff is out there. This guy, Jeff, he's a great listener. He did that nice sign for Dominic Lagana, the Lagana Strong sign. You guys all were very supportive of that. He wants to get his pro stock license. So the people who say pro Maro, I feel like that story is over. If that Mustang body is aerodynamically superior and, is it? We don't know. But if it was, next thing you know, we would have more Mustangs than we need. But he has a pro stock dream. And so I want everybody to know that. He's trying to get his license. We're going to track it. Do it, Jeff. Jagster Jeff says, without little guys, the weekend warriors, the big show, would not have a place to race. Exactly. And this is something that we discussed a while ago. But there's always too much infighting within drag racing. Too much civil war within drag racing. Like, bracket guys, they don't want to go to watch the Nitro guys because who cares about those guys? And, outlaw guys not feeling welcome at the NHRA because, there's laws there and we're outlaw. So we are not into it. And that's just a really bad mentality. We need all of us to work together on the ecosystem that is drag racing and motorsports. Tracks have to exist. For tracks to exist, there has to be local customers. Local customers only exist if local tracks are good and healthy. I saw that down in Hollywood, Miami Hollywood Speedway, right? When the track closed, we lost 3, 4, 5 engine builders. They all moved away because there's no local track. So who's going to buy an engine? It's an ecosystem. You lose your talented minds, then you got no one to race. It's an ecosystem. We have to look at it that way. Let's see. Monica says, gotta love Godzilla. Yeah, I rooted for Godzilla against King Kong, which is kind of anti-Joe because Godzilla's Japanese and King Kong is American in their inception. But just how do you not root for the giant lizard? To me, technically, America created Godzilla. Technically. Or awoken him, to put it a little more nuanced. I'm trying to get my nephew started racing this year too. Yeah, more racers. We need it. More racers and kids who want to do it and realize and appreciate. Great show. Go for Joe. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you, bud. Bo just won a ton of money bracket racing. Yeah, and that's why he's going to be on the show. That's why he's going to be on the people who just won a ton of money show, Right now, Bo's in the lead. Joe Santangelo is the guy that I reached out. Joe won $40,000 at the Southern Sportsman Showdown. I've also reached out to Joel Warren. We'll see if they can come on the show. Joel won $50K. Joe won $40K. And Bo won unknown hundreds of thousands, like a lot of money, because there's a split always. Let's see. Randy Lynn in the finals a couple of days before. It's just people who want a bunch of money. This is going to be the theme of the show, except for the host. Another great show. Love me, WFO, says Jay. Jay, thank you very much. Thanks for your support. Jay's a Patreon, I believe. Great show, as always. Great break in the day. Yeah, that's why we took off last week. A lot of people were burning me up. Like, why are you taking off last week, right? Like, why are you going to the beach, Joe? Why are you relaxing? No, you got to do it. They can't miss you if you're never gone. They can't miss you if you're never gone. Take a vacation every once in a while, people. That's one of the things. You're in a new universe, okay? There are people who never, ever take a break. They never take a vacation. I am one of those people who feels anxiety about taking a break and taking a vacation. And it comes from being in radio, right? Like if you aren't there for a week, that week is the week that the radio station is going to be torn down or switch to another format, or they're going to lock you out, or they're going to let the intern who just walked in the door do a show. And it turns out he's the next Don Imus. Wally Pipp. And those are typical anxieties in our world. Don't ever take a break. Don't ever give an opportunity. But at the same time, there's a lot of great things that come from taking a break. One, you're refreshed and you can think of things a little bit differently and you step away. It's important to take a break a little bit. Now, our break was 1 week, really 2 shows. Could have been longer, but it wasn't. And what do I come back? I come back feeling refreshed and also with a new perspective and all of that. So feel free to take a break, relax your mind, enjoy a little time. But most importantly, they can't miss you if you're gone. Like if you think you're good at what you do, the person that will be filling in with for you when you come back, your coworkers will all be like, oh my gosh, Lenny, thank you so much for being back. Here's all the work you missed. That's just WFO logic. I don't know if it's true or not. Going to miss me at the 4 wides. Yeah, you're going to miss me. I'm going to miss you guys too, but I understand. I hope to be there in the second race in Vegas. It totally makes sense. It just genuinely makes sense. Nate Hershey is a wonderful guy. He lives there. He lives in Vegas. I don't view it any other than that. Times are still tough, guys. Times are still tough. And, are you going to be part of the solution or part of the problem? Like, that's it. There's all kinds of core little stuff you get on WFO. Are you going to be part of the solution or the part of the problem? Well, I'm part of the solution by being super happy that I get to go to Atlanta. Let's see. Hartman will forever be the first 4 seconds to 300. It can't be taken away from him. Historic. DW. Darrell Waltrip is out there. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. This is Daniel Wilkerson is who it is. Right? Wilkie Funny Car 7? That's what's up, Daniel. That's what I'm guessing. Well, and that's why he's going to be on WFO tomorrow. And it's going to be kind of interesting because it's like, do we have a blockbuster superstar on the show tomorrow? Dave Fletcher and Richard Hartman. And in my opinion, the answer is yes. I love, not that they need introduction, but there's a lot of fans that don't know that these guys are like as hardcore as it gets, doing stuff behind the scenes. But Hartman, yeah, he gets in there. This guy drove funny cars for years. He's been through all kinds of it. And he jumps in an altar and goes down and sets a record, goes 300. What was that like? We'll find out tomorrow. Maybe the Vegas Fall Race. Yeah, that's my plan. Cannot wait for the Tuesday, Wednesday show. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Me either. Sucks that you won't be in Vegas. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to use the time wisely. I'm going to be watching on NHRA.tv, and I'm going to be working on window regulators. Like every window regulator that I have is going to get fixed. Do you have any side effects from a shot? Just tingling sensation. And I got some head congestion, which I still have. And I actually think it has to do with all the pollen. And that's it. So some head congestion and a, chills, tingling sensation. And I did not have a choice whether to get Johnson & Johnson. I got Moderna. That's what they had and took it. So, well, other than the powers that I have now to start fires with my mind, but only when I'm really angry at people. It's very bizarre. I've encountered, I had an incident at the grocery store. Everything else is normal, except I've acquired the power to start fires with my mind. It's kind of uncontrollable if you anger me. But other than that, yeah. Jim Joe is over 40. Well, you know what's funny is that yes and no. No, I'm not over 40. If I'm talking to people about like work. Yes, I am over 40 if we're just friends and we're kicking it around. But they give the over 40 people 1 week, and then it's like fight it out with everybody over 18, which isn't fair. The 40-year-olds had 7 days to do it, to get in there. And then it's open to everybody. And now if you were and me as I only had a limited amount of time. And now everybody's fighting it out. It's a land rush. It's the Hunger Games. I share and tell my friends about WFO every week. I wish I would have found your show sooner. I got my J&J shot last week. Way to go, Jeff. Way to go. I kind of wanted the J&J shot just so I'd be one and done. I've got a buddy of mine that says that he's only going to take the J&J because of the tried and true technology. I asked the pharmacist what she thought about that logic, like before she, put it in me. And I said, yeah, what's the idea? And she said, quote, that's all nonsense. Get whatever you can get as soon as you can get it, was what she said. So I'm just relaying that. I'm not an expert. That's what my expert pharmacist said. Good move. Let people make decisions for themselves. Well, the thing is, that's what they're going to do anyway. This whole pandemic, like I know a lot of people have been fighting against each other and yelling at each other for various reasons. And yeah, okay, you can yell, but people are going to do what they want to do anyway. They're going to do it. And then maybe you could fight it out with them. Like when the person comes into the store and they're not wearing a mask and they're supposed to be wearing a mask. And, they knew when they were going in there what they were doing. They elected to do that. Now you're fighting with someone who feels like they have God. They're doing what they want to do. It's very tough. It's amazing. Like this is my assessment of everything. You can look at it and say, boy, I wish it would be better. Whatever it is. Man, I wish our civilization was better. I like to think it's a miracle. It's as good as it is. Really. And, you'd have to show me some evidence of something that's better. Like it works. Our deal works. Even at its worst, it's still working pretty good. People want to be here. Like I'm so proud to be part of this civilization. Even when things are going poorly, we usually sort it out, course correct, and make it as good as we can for a little while. And then we have some other problem. But that's life. Let's see what this guy says. Good show. I like that. Simple. We need everyone type of drag racer. We do. And that includes the electric. So all you guys that are hating on electric, why can't we get these people in? Like what if every sportsman bracket race had 10 more entrants? Simple as that. Your sportsman field, because I'm very in touch with the foot brake sportsman stuff now because I'm doing it a little bit. And like you got 50 cars. Well, would it be better if you had 60 cars or no? Who says no? It would not be better. You got a bunch of people out there, they're feeling pride about their Tesla. They're feeling pride about their electricism or electricity. You don't want them racing at your track? You don't want them paying the entry fee to go to the track? You don't want them? Like, well, that's what you are doing if you're a hater of electric. That's what you're doing. Make people feel good about their stuff. Like my dad always taught me, like when it's like somebody like, hey man, look what I did to my car. And you see, and it's like they got something crazy that you would never do. They painted it lime green and it's got like a big Hulk fist coming out of the hood. And it's definitely not something you would ever do. Okay. So now you're in a situation. You're going to either like lie to the person and say, oh man, that's, good, great. I love it, which is a lie because you don't like it. Or you're going to tell them the truth. Man, I hate what you did to your car. It's ugly. It stinks. It's terrible, which is going to make them feel bad. Or, you come up with a middle ground like, wow, look what you did. Okay. You going to give them the, I hate what you did to your car deal? I think probably not. Now you could claim that you're a super honest person. Yeah, I'm super honest, but you make that person feel terrible about what they did to their car, even though it was pretty terrible anyway. How about let's make the electric people feel good about their stuff and bring them out to the racetrack and have them race and become into it? No, there's a bunch of people who want to make them feel, shame. Dang, I missed it today. Got to go re-listen. Yeah, it's on demand all the time. Go look at NHRA.com. You can watch Matt Smith and Greg Anderson. We missed you. Yeah, if you're never gone, how can they miss you? Jerry never takes a break. From what? From being like an international man of mystery, alligator farmer, come on. When you're like obviously fighting those alligators, it's got to be pretty tough, but he does it because he likes it. Right. Daniel Wilkerson. I got a tremor in the force. I knew it. Window regulators still. LOL. Yeah. Well, a bunch of them, but I'm working on it. The GTO is coming soon. Let's see. This guy thinks we're funny. Well, funny how? What? Like, do we amuse you? Like funny how? PA is only open to certain groups still for the shots. Yeah. No, we're doing okay down here in Florida. Finally. I mean, is it finally or is it not finally? Are they doing a good job? Or are they doing a bad job? Did they do a great job or just an okay job? Like, I don't know. Nobody knows. Pennsylvania, you got a lot of people up there, very congested. Old roads, old everything, distribution, who knows? You Italians stay pretty forever. Thank you. Yeah, we got. I think it has to do with South Florida also, the moisture in the air. It's going to end up, if you want to get on an airplane, you're going to need to have the shots. I think it's going to end up if you want to work anywhere, is my opinion on that. People are talking about passport vaccines and everything. You don't have to do that. The employer who wants to maintain his business is probably going to require his employees to be vaccinated, at which point they will get to choose whether they get it or not. You get me? Because no employer wants some unvaccinated person to come into their business and, get sick and be down for 3 months and then have a problem and, ding their insurance, like all those things that may or may not end up happening. I think that's the way it's going to go. I think the market will ultimately decide, and most people will choose to get the shots. I've had people say like, oh, what if something happens like the 6th appendage? Everybody's worried about the 6th appendage, right? The one that grows right out of your forehead. What if the 6th appendage grows? We'll see. I will never understand the electric hate. Maybe you need a little sportsman racing experience to get it, says Daniel Wilkerson. Maybe. Exactly. No, people just need a place for their negative energy. There's all negative energy in everything. There's positive energy. There's negative energy. Everybody knows that. There's energy. There's positive and negative energy. The positive energy, there's all kinds of great places for it. The negative energy, you have to be very selective about where you put that, because you could cause yourself a big problem. Like if your boss gets you upset, can you put your negative energy on your boss? No, probably bad idea, right? Probably bad idea to say some stuff to your boss and get him feeling, oh, this guy's got negative energy about me. So you go home and you dump it on your spouse or you dump it on your friends. Like that's the whole thing about the transfer of energy. So people who have like hate about things, whatever they are, even social, political stuff, a lot of them just have negative energy going on and they need a place to purge it. To purge the energy. There's dang electric cars. I hate them. Oh, really? Hey, what's wrong with green? Nothing's wrong with green. Well, I said lime green, but you get my point. Exactly. This guy loves his lime green Hulk thing. To fly, you're going to need a real ID in October. Yeah, I know that. I got to get mine. About the shots. See, again, I got shot number 1, well-organized, Seminole. Good. Yeah. Oh, well, my thing, I felt like I pulled a move going to the grocery store. And I did get a call the other day from the county and I had already got the shot. And I told him I already got the shot. That's it. Because, I tried to control my own destiny as best as I could. I feel like that's a drag racer way, right? Like, okay, what's the rules? Okay, these are the rules. These are the things that are happening. What can I do to give myself the best advantage to get to the goal that I want to go? Go to the grocery store and to kind of be there at the right time. And I talked to the lady and I was just going, no, you're here at the wrong time. Then I went back the next day. I was there at the right time. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? She goes, you're absolutely doing the right thing. Go to the grocery store, go to the pharmacist, tell them that you want the shot, put your name on the list, and we'll call you if we have one. And they called and I got one just like that. Boom. I felt so proud. Employers can't mandate it until the vaccines are fully approved. Well, I don't know the specifics of that situation, but I think employers can do anything that they want. And then their employees have the choice of whether or not to fight that mandate in court. I learned that with Legal Larry. Like, you can do or say anything. It's just a matter of whether or not someone's willing to take some sort of legal action to stop you from doing it. You know, like the big debate was like, you know, you're in debt. You're in debt. Well, yeah, you're in debt. How much you're in debt, but this doesn't really matter. What are they doing to collect? That's what matters. Oh man, when I did that podcast for the lawyer, oh, I learned so much. So yeah, I guess the employee who wants to choose to sue his employer for the mandate of the vaccine could go about doing that, but will probably just choose to either go work somewhere else or get the vaccine. Probably. Well, exactly. Back to work. Catch you later, says Bob. Really enjoyed WFO shows. Thank you, Joe and Alan. Mid-South Nationals. Yeah, I miss any Nationals. That's not happening. Got my shots for prep. Bonneville travel. Excellent. This is the final comment. Some of the colleagues out here are requiring the shot in order to sign up for next year. Colleges. Yeah, here in South Florida, you must have it. Faculty, students, you must have it. You want to go to college? You got to have it. Well, and what do you think is going to be the result of that? People are going to get it. And in the end, it will all sort itself out. The people who want it will get it. And they will tell their friends, yeah, I got mine 6 months ago. I'm feeling great. And other people will choose to get it when it's convenient and it's not a big land rush. You know, it's a combination. It's all a combination of everything. And any one thing, too much of any one thing is not good. You have to, you know, have balance. Like right now, it's time to end the show. Thank you ever much. Appreciate you guys being back on the air. The Ignition show is in the archive. That one was a little rough, I got to admit, because you know, you take a couple, you know, week off, and now we're back, baby. We're rolling. So tomorrow, big show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Fletch and Richard Hartman. We're gonna have a whole lot of fun. Now, Fletcher is a track specialist for DSR, so like track prep discussion. Like, can you run a Top Fuel car on a track that's prepped for Radio versus the World? I was thinking about that. If a Radio versus the World car can go 349.8 in the 8th mile, weighing 2,800 pounds, and a Top Fuel car goes 290 to the 8th mile, what would a Top Fuel car do on a track prep for Radio versus the World? And I thought about it, and I even asked some people, and it sounds like it's not possible. Like, you'd need a lot of effort to figure it out. Let's see. Hartman is the track specialist for Tim Wilkerson Racing. Oh, we're going to, and car chief, and so we'll get them on at the same time then. We'll have a little crossover. Talk about the rubber and what they see. All right, everybody. Big thanks to all you guys. Thank you so much to Alan Reinhart for coming on the show. WFO Radio on YouTube, WFO Radio TV. Subscribe. Click the bell. Get those notifications. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at WFO Joe. I always put up the banner for Alan, and I never put it up for myself because you guys should know this by now. You should know this. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. The archives are loaded. I know you are not totally caught up on the show, so go do that now. And we'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio. Thanks so much, everybody. And have you seen the front page of NHRA.com?